Good evening. Welcome to Star Talk. I'm Ken Eccles. I had to think about what I was supposed to say next. I'm Ken Eccles. We're happy to have you with us on the program tonight. I hope you are out of the rain. I am currently out of the rain, although I have not been out of the rain all day. Um, but it's sometimes it rains. There's not much we can do about that. We do have a phone line that you can call. The number is on your screen. We also have an email address that's on your screen too, or should be. The email address is keneckleslive@gmail.com. So you can give us a call or send us an email. Sounds like somebody on the phone. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Ken, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing fine. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What do you think about this rain?
I've had about as much, I believe, as I can use today. It was I don't know what was going on in Draper, but about 15 minutes ago, it was absolutely pouring over here in Leaksville. I mean, pouring.
It was it was pouring down here too. I've been to Sunny Beach for 3 days, Friday to Sunday, come home today.
Oh, which
It
beach
was
did you go
sunny,
to?
pretty.
Which
I
beach?
went to Myrtle Beach. Myrtle
All right.
Beach.
This is a good time of
Yeah.
year, a real good time of year to go to the beach because it's not too crowded yet.
And it's not too high either. I stayed 3 nights for uh $171. Me and another buddy of mine, he paid 171. I paid 171 for 3 nights.
Whoa, that
And
is
indoor
good. That's
and
real
indoor
good for Myrtle
pool.
Beach.
Yeah, they had an indoor pool and jacuzzi and all that stuff. But it was pretty sunny down there all week. I mean, we could have picked about a weekend to go.
Well, I'm
We
glad you
went
had good weather.
we went down to see them college volleyball players play, them girls and the guys too.
Yeah.
But they canceled it for next weekend. It's next weekend. It was supposed to be this weekend.
Why'd they cancel it?
That's what I don't know. I don't know. The guy that I went with, he called and asked when it was going to be. It's supposed to be this weekend, and they canceled it. But they good now. I'm gonna tell you right now, them people ain't nobody just players get up a team and come down there and play.
No,
These people are very good.
no, they are real athletes. That's not backyard volleyball. That's a real
No,
sport.
no, you better believe it. They're good. That's why I like going. I just happened to be down there one weekend when they was playing, and I said, man, I like to come back and watch this. That'd be fun. 'Cause they
Well, I'm
had
sorry.
one guy hit that ball. They had one guy hit that ball. He came with his arm instead of his fist.
Yeah.
He hit it with his arm somehow. He hit it with his arm. I bet he made that thing call. He made it go way, way up in there. But it come back down on the other side of that net. And boy, they sometime they could stop it and sometime they couldn't.
Well, I'll tell you what, it takes a whole lot of work, a whole lot of practice to play at that level.
You better believe it. But look, what place am I in?
Well, let's see. You didn't have your best week this time. You you're in 11th place, but it's the whole thing is close though. First place is 78 points. You're in 11th, but you've
Uh-huh.
got 665. So you're only 13 points out of first place. Most people are bunched up around the top right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And man, I started. Well, it's too late now, but I started taking that Danny Hamlin, and I
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Well,
I started taking him.
and only one person, no, I think two people had him. Um,
Yeah.
but it didn't look like he was going to win till late in the race. He only led
What's
what,
that?
10 laps?
Yeah. Did I come in front of Kyle Lawson?
Yeah, Kyle Larson had a bad finish yesterday.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. Well, where are they racing at this time?
I wish you hadn't asked me, um, because it has left my mind.
Well, I'll let somebody else call in and everything, and I'll find out. But I'll call in tomorrow and pick my driver.
All right, that's good, Early Bird. Thanks for calling.
Okay, thank you, Kim. Bye.
Bye. I was just looking not that long ago at the schedule, and I know as well as I know my own name where they race next week, and I cannot think of it. Somebody will help. Somebody will help me and remind me, and then I'll say, "Ugh, why didn't I remember that?" All right, well, if I keep trying, I'll never think of it. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
How you doing tonight, Ken?
Good. How are you?
Pretty good, man. I think I'm going to be in Bristol next week. Is it not this week?
Yes, Bristol. That's exactly right. Bristol next week.
Yeah. Did you watch any basketball last weekend?
I watched a whole lot of basketball and got surprised when Duke frittered away a 14-point lead. I didn't expect that.
I don't think much of anybody did, Ken. I mean, I watched all the Duke game, but the game that came on before that, who was that?
Florida and Auburn. Oh, that was a great game.
I saw the last 6 minutes of that game, Ken. I came in, I turned the TV on, and I started watching it there for a second. I said, "No, I got to finish watching this one." And I'm telling you,
that's one of the best games. One of the best games I've seen. Really, that was a great game.
Yeah, I thought those two games that night was probably the best basketball games that's been on in a long time.
Well, yeah, they were both great games. The Florida Auburn game was, I guess, the Florida Auburn game. I mean, both teams played well all the way to the end, whereas in the Duke game, Duke did not play well for the last 7 or 8 minutes. Right. But they were both really competitive games, good games. I'm sorry Duke lost.
Yeah, me too. I'm kind of pulling for Florida tonight. Who are you pulling for?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Florida win it. Wouldn't mind it at all. I don't have a strong preference, but I'd be happy if Florida won.
Yeah, I would too, Ken. Yeah, I really could care less, but I'd like to see Florida win it out of the two. But it is what it is. Yeah.
Well, it should be a good one.
Yeah, it should be. I don't know if your viewers are paying any attention tonight, but if you got any plants of stuff outside, y'all better cover them up tomorrow. Because Wednesday morning, I think we're going to have some frost in the area, and it'll bite it and kill it. So.
There is a chance. It's definitely going to be cold, and there's a chance of a freeze Wednesday morning. I didn't know this, but somebody on the weather forecast said it. The average date of our last freeze is April 8th. That's the average date for the last freeze, and we're right at the time for it based on that. So yeah, look out for those plants tomorrow night and Wednesday morning.
Yes, sir. The farmers around here, Ken, I think their normal average date is like April the 15th, and put plants in the ground. But I have seen it frost a lot later than that. I think a year or two back, it was frosting up close to May 1st. It was just a weird season that year. But
well, I happen to know this just because it came up today. The latest freeze on record for us is May the 8th. Now that's rare. I mean, that's really rare, but that's the record for late freeze, May the 8th.
Yeah, I agree, because I have seen it around the first week of May. I have. It's unusual, but it does happen.
Could happen.
This Supreme Court thing down in Raleigh again, man, I think they done thrown us another curve on that election, have they not? I think it's gone back to another set of courts or something. What's going on with that?
The State Court of Appeals ruled 2-1 that the votes in question do not count right now. The State Court of Appeals says all the people whose votes are at risk of being disqualified. Mind you, there's no allegation that any of them were not eligible to vote. That's not even part of the. Nobody is saying that they were not eligible to vote. But be that as it may, State Court of Appeals said that their votes are not going to count unless within the next 15 days, they go to their Board of Elections and verify themselves. I guess if their address or license number or whatever it is not on the form, they have to go and fill it in, and says then their votes will count. But wait, there's more. After that, the state Supreme Court steps back in, and they saying, no, we are going to stop that 15-day period. We're not going to allow that to take effect right now. But the state Supreme Court didn't make any comment beyond that. So where it stands is, right now, you are in danger of having your vote not count if you're one of those 60,000. Court of Appeals says you have 15 days to correct the information. State Supreme Court says, no, we're going to throw out, at least we're going to suspend the 15-day opportunity. And that's all they said. So right now, we don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, that's a scary thought, Ken. I mean, you go vote, you register, you do it legal, whatever, and your vote still don't count. I mean, that's a scary thought. I mean, how's this country ever going to survive if that stuff continues to happen? And then Trump says he wants to turn all the elections, turn back from the states back to the federal people, and that's going to be a cluster mess too before it's all over with too.
Well, that's not what the Constitution says, but we'll talk about that one if it happened. Getting back to the North Carolina case, the truth is that I think it's safe to say, every office holder in North Carolina, certainly every office holder in Raleigh, including the judges who ruled on this case, all of them won their seats in elections where this particular class of voters that we're talking about voted, and their votes counted. So if they're going to declare that this election is not valid because those folks voted, then I think by extension of logic, their own elections are not valid because those folks voted. So they should all. If you take it to its logical conclusion, they should all stand for re-election right now because what they call invalid voters voted in their elections. But that's not going to happen.
That's exactly right. I mean, one good call, and that's what I don't know, Ken. I guess time will let it play out, but it sure don't seem fair to me.
Well, it's something I've never heard of. Is people whose eligibility to vote is not being questioned. People who it is acknowledged by everybody that they were eligible to vote, and yet their votes might be thrown in the garbage. I've never heard of anything like that happening.
Oh, and I hope it goes away and never comes back, Ken.
Well,
thanks so much for taking my call, Ken. I really enjoy your show.
Thanks for calling. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Well, good evening, Mr. Ken.
Good evening.
Now let's get down to business. How did I do in the race?
Not real good. Let's see. You had, I forget who you had.
The number 8.
Oh yeah. Well, you did okay. He finished 10th. And you're still in the top 10. You're tied for 10th. You did better than I thought you did. You're tied for 10th. You got 67 points. And so that's 11 points behind first place.
Who?
What? Is there an owl outside your window?
No, it's me. Okay, who come in first? Because you're not on in Danville tonight.
Well, Denny Hamlin won the race. As far as the standings go, right now, the personality in first place is Captain Midnight. For the first time in his career, Captain Midnight is in first place with 78 points.
Whoopee-doo.
Well, you sound excited. In fact, here's the top 5. Captain Midnight, 78. Nice Guy, 77. Mr. NASCAR and Mr. Leaksville and Mr. Draper all have 75. So that's actually, yeah, that's the top five right there.
Okay. Okay. Where's our next race, sir?
Bristol.
All right. I'm going. Who's the favorite in Bristol?
I don't know. I don't know if there is a favorite.
Okay. I'm going to pick somewhere outside my normal picks again.
All right. Who is it?
Well, I'm going with the Watermelon Man.
Okay. Charles from Danville takes Ross Chastain for Bristol.
Yep. I want to see a watermelon break.
Yeah, I do too. I think last summer it got to the point where I had to get a watermelon and break it myself. I got tired of waiting for him. But maybe that'll happen soon this year.
Oh yeah. Because, well, I wanted to do one of the job, but I couldn't do it on the curb. They wouldn't let me do it.
You want to break a watermelon in the parking lot at work?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can see why they might frown on that.
Oh yeah. But most likely, I'm hoping you'll be on tomorrow night, but you're not on tonight, so I'm going to have to put Charles on notice.
Well, I think it maybe you've been very patient with Charles about this. Maybe patience is not the right way to approach it. Perhaps you should try some other tactic.
Well, probably suspend him for a couple of days.
That'll teach him a lesson.
Oh yeah, and let the other guy, that new guy, do some talk. Let that new guy do some talking shows for Charles while I put him on
Luis,
suspension.
put Luis on the air. Yeah, let Charles sit at home and watch.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to put him on suspension for a week. I'm sorry, nothing personal, but it's getting old.
Is that suspension with or without pay?
No pay.
All right, yeah, that'll hurt him. That'll hurt him.
Oh yeah, that'll teach him a lesson. He'll never do that again. I don't know why nobody ain't touched the switch yet. Ask the guy up in Martinsville about it too, Ken, and we'll talk to you tomorrow, sir.
Well, thanks for calling. Good to hear from you. Let's see. I was saying Captain Midnight, number one, with 78 points. Nice Guys, 77. Mr. NASCAR, Mr. Leaksville, and Mr. Draper, all tied for third with 75. Tar Heel and Mayodan, 73 in sixth place. Seventh place tie, Jack and Mark from Mayodan with 69. Mr. Pelham, ninth with 68. Charles and Pretty tied for 10th with 67. Early Bird, 65. Chat GPT has fallen to 12th place with 51 points. Then Leon 48, Citizen D, and the Liberal have struggled at the beginning of stage two. They each have 23 points. But again, a whole great many races yet to go in this stage. It's a 14 race segment. So there's plenty of time for those at the rear to get to the front. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Ken, it's Mark from Maydan.
Hey, Mark. How you doing?
Okay, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Mark. Thank you.
That's good. Anyway, on the last race, my mom told me to pick Denny Hamlin, and I told her he probably won't win the next race, whatever, and he ended up winning.
Well, Mark, that's why you should always listen to your mother.
Yeah, listen to my mom. Yeah, but anyway, we're gonna go with Christopher Bale this time.
Okay, for Bristol, Mark from Mayodan takes the 20. Christopher Bell. All right, Mark, it's in the book.
Okay, and don't forget, Masked Singer Wednesday night. Did you watch it last week?
I watched it. In fact, for a change, I even remember who got unmasked. It was Method Man.
Yeah, Method Man. Yeah, he was. I want to find out who the demon or the dragon is.
Yeah, I'll be very eager to see who that is because I have no idea.
Because somebody picked Gene Simmons at one time, then they changed their mind about who it is.
You know, I don't much think it's Gene Simmons. I don't know, but to me, I don't believe it's Gene Simmons. Do you think it is?
And in a way, I kind of do, and in a way, I don't. But it might be. I don't know.
Well, it could be. It does not. I've never heard him sound like that, but that doesn't mean it couldn't be him.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks again.
Well, thank you, Mark. I appreciate your call. Just looking to see if it's still raining. It is still raining. Because somebody an email over here about the rain. That's not where it is. I have to look in a different place. Here's where it is. Ken, do you know how much of rain that we have gotten today? Have you heard anybody say? Yeah, I heard somebody say. One of the weather folks said that we've gotten about an inch and a half. Excuse me, an inch and a half of rain today. Of course, that would vary from place to place. I think this guy was on Channel 2, so he was probably talking about what they've measured there at Channel 2. And he said an inch and a half. And they're expecting more. He said by the time it's all over, we'll probably end up with about 2 inches of rain from this, which is actually less than what they were talking about over the weekend. Because on Saturday, they were forecasting maybe 3 inches of rain. But it looks like it won't be 3, but 2 is plenty. 2 inches of rain in a day, that's more than enough. That ought to satisfy everybody. So based on that, that's what we have. Again, you may have something different at your house. If you've got a little rain gauge or a jar or something that you measure rain with, you might measure more than that, but it's not going to be uniform all over the place. Emailer says, Ken, it was a bad day for Citizen D and the Liberal once again. It was kind of bad for Citizen D and the Liberal. Next week, I will take the number 9. All right, let me go ahead and write that down right now. Citizen D has the 9 for Bristol. And then goes on to say the Liberal might better not copy me again this week. I bet we are all below Pretty Man. Yeah, and that's an embarrassing thing. You never want to find yourself behind Pretty Man in anything. But Pretty Man is actually tied for 10th right now, which is certainly a far better position than the position in which he will finish, but that's where he is right now. Let's not talk about my NCAA pick. Oh, I'm not going to bring up, believe me, I will not bring up NCAA picks. Not at all. I wonder if that game was fixed with all this betting we have going on these days. Makes me wonder which way that game makes me wonder with the way that game ended. What do you think? I don't think it was fixed. I don't think. I don't think so. I know Duke could not make an inbounds pass there in the last minute of the game. I think, based on what I saw, that was just a product of just unbelievable defense by Houston. That was just amazing, how active and how energetic and how all over the place they were defending those inbounds plays, because Duke literally couldn't throw the ball in bounds. But I'm just gonna give Houston credit for that, although you never know. And the emailer then says, "Good stew weather today. Sure wish I had a few quarts. If Mark from Mayodan knows of a stew, let us know. Well, if he does, he will. He didn't mention one, so I guess he doesn't know about one, but we can count on Mark. If he gets word of Stu, he will certainly let us know. And yeah, this would be real good stew weather today. Really good stew weather. Let's see. Eggs were $4.85 at Dollar General yesterday. $4.85. You know, there's a time. There was a time when we would have seen $4.85 on a dozen eggs and said, "Well, that's outrageous." It doesn't look that bad right now, does it? 485 actually looks pretty good right now. It really does. Let's see. What's this? Oh man, here's somebody has sent me. Oh, look at this. It is a picture of the Western Carolina Championship race, Draper, North Carolina, October 8th, 1950. Perk Brown won it, driving the number 60. And Glenn Wood won the pole in the number 16. Where is this picture? I don't know where this is, but it's a picture of the old, I guess they called it, would they call it the Draper Speedway? What did they call it? But this is from October of 1950, and it was raining then. Looks like here it was raining in October 1950, and it's still raining. It's been raining now for like 75 years based on this picture. Wow, that is a historic thing right there. Appreciate that. 1950. This one says, look at this product I found on Google. Here's a link to a product. Product? Sometimes links don't open. Product. Well, let's see. What does the link say? The link shows Anthony Volpe at bat and Ian Jackson, possible transfer portal, maybe leaving North Carolina. Looks like he will. Here's Cooper Flagg after the game Saturday night, who doesn't look very happy. Cooper Flagg also is turning pro. And here's a whole long list of pictures of stuff. I don't know which one he particularly wanted me to see, but they're all interesting pictures. And what else do we have? This one says, hello, Ken. This is Captain Midnight. It's Captain Midnight. Hello, Ken. This is Captain Midnight. I'm surprised to hear that I am in first place in the NASCAR thing. This is the first lap I have ever led. This is the first lap I have ever led. It feels good to be the best. Well, Captain Midnight, I guess yes, it is the first lap you've ever led. It may be a little premature declaring yourself to be the best, but maybe you are the best. Who knows? Still a dozen races left in this segment. And I'd say just enjoy it while you're there. Enjoy it while you're there. With 78 points, 1 point ahead of Nice Guy. Phone line is open. There's the telephone number up there. We also have this email address that you can email to. That is keneckleslive@gmail.com. is the email address. And this emailer says, Ken, I have a rain gauge like you talked about on a pole in my backyard. And according to my rain gauge, I have had 2 3/4 inches of rain in my rain gauge since last night. And I emptied it last night to make sure I got a good reading. But that's what I have, 2 3/4 inches. That's a lot. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Ken, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
All right. Look, Ken, there's no chance of my wire to wire record being broke this session, is it?
No, we've already had two different leaders, so it will not. Well, it'll stand at least through this
Yeah,
segment.
right. Well, good. Now, Ken, I watched the game also, and let me ask you one question before I get in the statement.
Okay.
The last call where reaching for the rebound, they could make that call an entire ball game. Now, in the timing of it, where 19 seconds left and all, and the referees are influencing a game with a call they haven't made the entire game.
We're
Now,
talking about,
that part,
just make sure everybody
the
is
Duke,
on the same page. We're talking about the foul they called on Cooper Flag.
that's right,
After the Duke had missed a free throw and the rebound was in the air,
right,
and next thing you know, they blow the whistle and they call a foul on Cooper Flag, saying he went over the back. That call, well, you just said it. That call can be made 300 times a night. I have
correct,
never ever seen something like that called as a foul. I don't understand it.
correct. And I have to, I know you had picked them and everything like that and all, but my only problem with the outcome was that call. I mean, Duke Duke was self-inflicted.
Yeah.
The wounds on the self. But I didn't like that call that hadn't been made an entire game, and I never see it made because anytime it's a free throw, those guys lining up be wrestling almost for the ball
Well,
and
sure.
everything.
And if
Yeah,
you
you could
consider,
make it 500 times.
if you
Huh?
can consider how that game was played, how physical that game was, and you had guys pushing and
Right.
shoving and grabbing all night long. Sometimes they were called for fouls. Most of the time, they let that contact pass. But to call a foul on that play at that moment, I don't get it.
I don't either. So anyway, that's the only complaint I had there. But now another thing, again, I like to make this statement. I was correct, and someone else was incorrect. Mr. Garcia has been ordered to be brought back in the country by midnight tonight by the judges. And so they made a mistake. And if the lawyers had evidence that he was part of a gang and deportation was legitimate, then they had opportunities at the trial to present that evidence, correct?
They did have that opportunity, yes.
And so,
You know, what really struck me was the government lawyer. Um,
yeah,
the government lawyer asked by the judge why Garcia was targeted for deportation, and the government lawyer said, "I don't know." The government lawyer said he didn't know why Garcia was targeted for deportation, which was a really strange thing for the lawyer to say. But that's what he said. I don't know.
well, can I point out now the administration ex-lawyer, because he has been released and people put on administrative leave, what they call it, but people are usually released and let go when they present false information of what. But he only told the truth, which he's sworn to do, that
Well,
he didn't have. He didn't know. He didn't have evidence why he was being deported.
well, if you're a lawyer and a judge asks you a question in court, you are required to tell the truth. I mean, you have to. You don't have a choice. And
But
so,
it cost him his job.
well, I didn't know he'd been fired. I knew he was suspended.
Yes.
I didn't know they'd fired him.
Yeah, he's been suspended. And look, now that, and I'll be quickly, there's a rise on cyber attacks in tech, hit and everything. And we have just lost our top guy on fiber that was over the fiber attack, NCA, National Cyber Agency. He has just been let go, and he worked for several administrations, like for 25 years. So he worked for the previous Trump, and he worked for all the Democrats and Republicans because they felt like he was the top guy to pick up information, to handle information that when we get hit by cyber attack. And he was let go, and Miss Laurel Loomer, a conspiracist, say that she recommended it, to the president, and he listened to her.
Yep, that is what she said.
So now, don't you think our cyber system is less safe if they have to go in there and appoint a new guy or whatever, and someone that they require loyalty instead of experience?
I think somebody that experienced in that field, and apparently he had done a fine job since he'd been serving through Biden, through the first Trump administration, and I think, I'm not sure exactly how many years. But experience is valuable, and normally you don't want to send experience out the door.
Right. Well, I just hope we won't get hit, but they said that chances rise that our cyber system, our bank, and our grid, electrical grid locks, where they shut a whole city down, and the chances of things like that happen now of a cyber attack has gone up.
Not.
Okay. All right. Enjoy your show. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks for calling. The phone line is open and the number is right there. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Ken.
Yes.
Briscoe from Huntsville.
Hey, Briscoe.
I saw in the paper several days ago that 2 staff members from Huntsville, not Huntsville, but McMichael High School in Mayodan,
right,
had been suspended for some sort of violation.
Right.
Without giving any names or anything, do you know what the charges are?
They're not saying. I don't know, Briscoe. I know that they were suspended. I know that after that, apparently the school superintendent's office called the sheriff's department, and I know that the sheriff's department at that point started an investigation, but to my knowledge, they have not released any other details.
Well, I didn't want to know the names of the alleged violators, but I was curious to what the charges were.
Well, there are not any charges right now that I know of, but there apparently is an investigation.
Well, thank you so much for taking my call. Good night.
Okay. Thanks, Briscoe. Haven't heard any more. I have not heard any more on that since the last thing we heard. Hello, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good evening, Ken. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. If I could slow down, this pacemaker just keeping me going.
Wow, it's made a new man of you.
I won't say all that, but
Well, you.
oh, that'd be mighty hard to do there.
Well, yeah, I guess, but you never
Hey,
know. They
they,
build it. They build a miracle instrument every day.
they gave me more life.
Absolutely.
Yep, gave me more life. That's exactly what they did. But just a little bit ago, the Supreme Court overruled those judges, and Trump can do what he wants to now by sending the illegals on to Seacott and over down to El Salvador and all. And so the Supreme Court overruled those judges.
Well,
And,
let's stop there a second. The judge who ordered Garcia returned. I don't think that's been to the Supreme Court, has it?
let me read you this real quick.
Okay.
But Derek, hang on, doggone it. See, last time I tried this, I pulled it back up and it went to a different topic, and that's what it did this time. It went to a lower section, but it says. In its emergency appeal, the Americans' highest court, Trump administration argued the Maryland judge lacked authority to issue the orders, and the U.S. officials cannot compel El Salvador to return Mr. Garcia. U.S. Solicitor General John Sauer wrote in his emergency court file, the United States does not control the sovereign nation of El Salvador, nor can it compel El Salvador to follow a federal judge bidding.
Okay.
He added the Constitution charges the president, not federal district courts, with the conduct of foreign diplomacy and protected the nation against foreign terrorists, including the effectuation of their removal. Now, he entered the United States illegally at 19 years old on a illegal visa.
Okay, let me ask you. Can I ask you a question?
Okay.
What is the date and time on what you just
2
read
hours
me?
ago.
2 hours ago. Okay. Well,
2 hours ago.
Then that's significant.
Kilmar Brita Garcia was sent to a prison in El Salvador during the Trump administration deportation initiative. It was sent 2 hours ago. U.S.
Right.
Supreme Court passes order requiring return of deported man, but then it goes on to read what I just read you.
All right.
So, yeah. Anyway, hey, I made two choices for the race this week.
Two
and
choices.
Guess what? Well, I mean, I started out with a Bell.
Oh yeah, that's right. And then you changed.
Then I switched it to Byron.
All right. Well, that was a good move.
At the end, I wasn't sure.
That was a good move.
Yeah, but I want to go ahead and pick Larson for this. I've done my investigating. I want to go ahead and pick Larson for this.
Let's see. Mr. Draper has the 5 for Bristol.
Did you know that Bubba Wallace wrecked Larson on purpose at the end of that race so that he could put his partner, his co-driver, give him a chance to get up front to win, Bill? It didn't work out that way for him, but that was purposely done.
Has NASCAR looked at that and made that decision?
I can't say they've made that decision. I hadn't researched it late this evening or this afternoon, but that's the way it's described as happening.
Well,
and
Tuesday.
It was asked, do you people think it was purposely done?
Well, Tuesday is penalty day. So if NASCAR has made that determination, then we'll hear it officially tomorrow. So we'll be listening.
Well, Larson was about 100 laps down, so they're probably not going to say anything about it.
Well, I don't know. They wrecking somebody on purpose. They usually take that pretty seriously. And I mean, I'm not saying he did or he didn't, but if NASCAR believes he did, then they'll announce something tomorrow, probably.
Yeah. If you get that picture of Glenn Wood on the pole at the Draper Bi-State Speedway in 1950, I think
I sure did. That was
How about that?
That was quite a thing. Now that was off over there close to Meadow Road, wasn't it?
Yeah, you go down the end of Meadow Road. It takes a right down 770 to Danville, and the left goes to Virginia, where the liquor joint used to be, Squats down there. And it was right in that corner section there, quarter mile. Then it was a dirt track, but then they eventually paved it.
Well, that's quite a
I
picture.
raced around it.
Where
I
is
raced
that?
around it.
Where is that picture? Where did you see that picture?
It's in the it's in a show type cabinet at Draper Cycle.
Okay.
Yep. And he's
Wow.
got the one with Mead's Garage,
Yep.
the one that had Mead's Garage.
Okay.
That's
So-
what Draper Cycle is. That was his grandpa's garage back in when they were running bootleg and religious steals around here and all that.
75
They built
years
the hot
ago.
rods and they built the hot rods and that outrun the law with.
Yeah, those are kind of wild days, I'm told.
Oh, they were. I know a guy, he's dead now. He come flying up from Danville and the law was hot behind him. The door was up on the garage. He come up and pulled in the garage real quick, yelled for him to pull the door down. They pulled the door down. The law went right on by with the siren on.
Gosh. You know, they ought to make a movie about that.
Yeah, they really could. Darrell, he writes a lot of stuff in Eden's own journal about that. I don't know if you read that.
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Oh my goodness, you should read these things. He's the Draper historian with the history company up in Leaksville, and all of that. Me and him done a book. We did golly, I stay up to 6 o'clock in the morning editing all the stuff we recorded, interviewed the people when the airport was up there and the crash airplanes and all of that stuff was going on. We're the ones that put all of that into
Where do you find that book?
Well, Darrell has them. I've got one here. I could let you use. I could let you borrow it.
I'd like
It's a good, nice little thick book. It's a big, 10 by 8, whatever size a regular book is.
Well, hey, do they know about that? Up here on Washington Street, there's the museum.
Yes.
They know about that
They
book?
know all about that. All of that's there. That's what we put on this whole thing. Tri-City Airport here in Draper. All the crashes straight down. Boom, killed Lemons and the other guy, and one plane crashed in a tree and it stayed up there for a week or so, and
Wow.
right there at the airport. And
Wow.
it's a whole big thing. These two people out of the military were going to start a mail hauling business from Canada down to here, and then they crashed that plane into a tree, and other things happened, and it didn't succeed.
Well, I'm going to
But
walk up to the
all of that
museum.
and
I'll
every
walk up to the
week, every
museum
time-
and see that.
Every time the Eden Journal comes out, there's a new thing in there. Darrell's wrote an article about the history. My grandpa's brother pulled the wagon thing across the river with the horses and wagons on it by the rope, so they could go to Danville. When they come back at evening, he'd take them back across the river on the ferry, pulling the rope. My grandpa's brother did that, and for 10 cents a week.
Man, well, where do you get the Eden Journal?
Anywhere it's free. It's that little white paper, green and white paper, and black writing on it.
I'll look for it.
But
I
they're
will.
everywhere. It's not a thick paper. Eden's own journal. Gracious, I can't believe you don't read that.
Hey, I'm ignorant. I don't know
No,
much.
you're not. No, you're not. But that's been around forever.
I'm going to look
And
for
it's
that,
every-
and I'm going to walk
and
up
it's
there to the
everywhere.
museum and look for those other
Yeah, that
things.
museum. You can learn. You can find out everything I just told you at that museum there,
Good news. I'll do that.
and a whole lot more. Okay. Have a good night, Ken. Bye bye.
Thanks for calling. Eden's Own Journal. Write that down. Because what I don't write down, I forget. Phone line is open. There is the number. The email address is keneccleslive@gmail.com. And let's see, this emailer here says, what does this emailer say? This emailer says, "Hi, Ken, Mr. Leaksville here. I want to have the number 5 in the great book this weekend. Thank you very much, Mr. Eccles." He says, okay, Mr. Leaksville has Kyle Larson for Bristol. Mr. Leaksville currently tied for third place. So that's in the book. And then we have this. Ken, I'm not old enough to remember, I'm not old enough to remember the racetrack over there that you were talking about. But my dad told me a whole lot about it. He said he used to go there to pretty much every race, that he hardly ever missed one. I wonder, is there anything at all left of the track? Could you go over there and see any remains or remnants of it? You know, I don't know, but I doubt it. I doubt seriously there'd be anything remaining of it now, because, you know, that area has, lot of stuff has happened over there in the last 50, 60 years. So I'm going to guess, I'm just taking a guess, I'm going to take a guess that you would not be able to see any trace of the track over there right now. Be good if you could, be good if they still had it, but they don't. And let's see, we are just about out of time. Have time to read this. Hey, Ken, I'm glad somebody brought up that stupid call that they called that foul on Cooper Flagg on that missed foul shot the other night. He didn't even do anything. The Houston player did what players are supposed to do on a missed free throw. He backed up into the guy next to him, which was Cooper Flagg, to block him out of the rebound. The only thing Cooper Flagg did was stand there and get blocked away from the rebound. He didn't do anything with his hands. He didn't do anything with his arms. He didn't do anything except be backed into, which was a legal play for the guy who did it. There was nothing, absolutely nothing in that play that ought to have been called a foul, especially, like you said, how rough and tumble that game had been played for the whole time. It was one of the most physical games that we have seen in the tournament, and then they call a foul on an absolutely nothing move like that. That's why somebody might think that the game was rigged. I'm not saying it was rigged, but that was a really, really fishy call. Yeah, emailer, I'm certainly not saying it was rigged. In fact, I think I've already said I don't think it was rigged. But I cannot disagree. That was a weird call. You know, sometimes you hear about, and I don't like to use the term because I'm not sure it's even a real thing, but sometimes you'll hear about players choking. Well, in a pressure time, important game, deciding point of the game, the player choked. You know, if players can choke, then probably officials can too. And you might wonder if the official choked at that point and just kind of lost track of how he was supposed to call the game. Anyway, it's over, it's gone and done, and it now belongs to history. And people can argue about it forever, and they probably will, but makes no difference now. And that's all the time we have for Star Talk tonight. We are on the air Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. I hope you'll join us next time. Thanks for watching. I'm Ken Eccles.